Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about somebody that's been in the news for so long, is a brilliant, genius guy, very controversial. But the reason why I haven't talked about him sooner is we have never had his birth time. But without a birth time, we can observe the chart from the moon, but it would be really fascinating to be able to look at his chart from the ascendant. But without that, let's just go ahead and look from Chandra Lagna, making the moon the ascendant. So in this chart for Elon Musk, let's pull it up. He is brilliant. Let's see what we can see in his chart to better understand who he is, and especially where he may be going with his businesses in the future. So looking at Elon Musk, his moon is in Leo, and I bet it's somewhere in the nakshatra Purva Falguni. So let's just put it in that his ascendant's Leo and look at the whole chart based on from everything, how it's positioned from the moon. Now, the first thing that I think is so exceptional about his chart is where his Rahu and Mars are. Because look at Mars at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Does that mean anything to you? Well, let me just say this. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, but its exact degree where it comes to the most elevated exaltation of all is at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And his Mars is 27 degrees, 31 minutes. It's not even a degree away from this exaltation. Unbelievable degree. Plus, if you consider the fact that Rahu is right next to his Mars, that even throws it off the chart even more. So Mars is about technology too. It's like machinery in that sense of the word. So he understands how things work, machinery. He's got a technical mind. He's a scientist, basically. He can understand how things work in the world. This is this off the chart, powerful Mars. Now it's in the 6th house from the moon. So yes, he's had his struggles, but you know, the 6th house is where you do overcome things. I mean, there was a point in his life after he had created PayPal, sold it, and then moved on to other things and Tesla, and he was ready to kill himself. He was so depressed. But look what he did. This is the power of the comeback kid when you have powerful planets and it's off the charts. In the 6th house. Off the charts is Mars Rahu. In the 6th house, he's always going to overcome adversity. He's always going to make it back and be someone extraordinarily powerful. So that's something I couldn't resist focusing in on, his willpower. And remember, the 6th house deals with ambition, drive, courage too. Just like Mars would mean in the 3rd house, but in the 6th house it also deals with, it's an Upachaya house, where Upachaya means houses 3, 6, 10, and 11. Deal with, when you put malefics there, people overcome obstacles. But a Mars that is like incredibly over the top on steroids, this guy's got it. So then let's look at where his planets are based on being 10th from the moon. Yes, he has Saturn and Venus 10th from the moon. Saturn and Venus being in its own sign, being in Taurus. This will make one very wealthy. This is actually a Malavaya yoga when you have Venus in its own sign or exalted in an angular house. The angles are 1, 4, 7, or 10. He's got it. Venus in Taurus is in its own sign in the 10th house. This will bring wealth, this will bring prosperity, and even being with Saturn is not all that bad because Venus and Saturn are friends in a chart. But Saturn gives him the discipline to bring things to fruition, to really work hard, and to make his career of vital importance, because obviously this is one of his loves in life, his career. So that is an enormous advantage to have both those planets together in his 10th house. Now going to his 11th house, you know, when I think about the 11th house, I think about people we know, especially influential people that you know. And to have the sun there means you know some very powerful, influential people. But Mercury, you know Mercury's got to be strong. This guy's a genius, right? Mercury is in Gemini. It's its sign of rulership. Gemini is besides Virgo, this is the sign to have Mercury in for intelligence. Virgo is its sign of exaltation, plus Mercury rules Virgo. But when Mercury's in Gemini, it's this great curiosity that it creates. People want to learn everything. They're not closed-minded to anything. And the mind is open. There's a curiosity, a love of travel. Communications are incredible. And I'll tell you something else I love about Mercury and Gemini. People have a good sense of humor. Now, I don't know Elon Musk, but I guarantee you he's got to be funny with Mercury being in Gemini. And being with the sun in the 11th house, he knows people like this. And he has a lot of friends with these two planets being in the 11th house. Now, another aspect that I think is very important here is the fact of his Jupiter being in his 4th house. He is close to his mother. And not only that, Jupiter does aspect his Saturn and Venus, but tightly his Saturn. So he's got a Jupiter-Saturn opposition, which will bring manifestation to whatever houses they aspect mutually, which is the 4th and the 10th. So home, his roots, foundations, where he originated, he's close with his mother. But then again, his career is successful with both Jupiter and Saturn aspecting the 10th and the 4th. Now notice though that Neptune is exactly opposed Saturn. And this will represent somebody that can bring things that are unrealistic down to reality. Because Saturn is reality. Neptune is delusions, things beyond this world. Imagination, but put them together, you can bring these illusions and imaginations down to the world. And boy, he's created some concepts and ideas that no one could understand. Especially even PayPal. He created PayPal. He was able to understand how money could be exchanged in such a way, create that. And now he's working on spaceships and Tesla, a car that's driven on electricity. I mean, he's an inventor, he's a genius. And that's going to be that Neptune is beyond this world ideas and imagination. So another thing that I want to point out that is very telling about who he really is, when you look at certain degrees in this chart, you're going to find that Rahu is 21 degrees in Capricorn. And then you look at Mercury is 21 degrees in Gemini. And then you look at the moon. Well, the moon is somewhere around 21 degrees. We're not quite sure because we don't have a time. But still, in the chart I pulled up, it is there, but it is in Leo that day. And what forms here is a perfect yod. And what a yod is first of all, planets that are in 6-8 relationship. If you count from Rahu to Mercury, you're going to find Mercury goes 6 placements. So that's actually in Western astrology called a quincunx or inconjunct, 150 degrees away. And then you look at the moon. The moon is also, it's 3 signs away from Mercury, which is a sextile. And then if you count from the moon back to Rahu, it's 6 signs away. So from the moon to Rahu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's another inconjunct. So what is a yod? It's called the finger of God. It is very significant, brings things to the forefront. He has an important mission. So a yod is when you have 2 quincunxes and 1 planet, which is Rahu, that forms the the one planet that forms the quincunx to the other two planets. That's a focal point. And you're going to find that people with these yods have very meaningful lives, that they do something that changes the world in some respect. Now, we know that he has stock. He has a company called Tesla, and we're wondering where that's going to go. It has gone sky high. And I noticed, looking forward into his future, where we have the transit of where Jupiter's going to go and the transit of where Rahu is going to go. And I know that around February 22nd of 2021, Jupiter is going to roll up to 21 degrees of Capricorn, while Rahu will be 21 degrees of Taurus, meaning that both Jupiter and Rahu will be in a mutual trine to each other. And here's what's happening. He has got his natal Rahu at 21 degrees of Capricorn, where Jupiter will conjunct and Rahu will cast a trine to it. So I'm going to say, with that going on concerning his sixth house of his work, and if you consider the sign that both Mars and Rahu are in, they are in Capricorn, which Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn is in his 10th house. So consider this, that transit of Rahu and Jupiter activating his natal Rahu, which means major expansion all by itself, Jupiter on Rahu. It's activating that Rahu in the 6th house of his work, but activating Saturn because it's in Saturn's sign, which is in his 10th house of his career. So my prediction is, I bet his stock is going to go sky high around that time. So look out. This is in Elon Musk's chart. And not only that, other projects that he may be working at will expand and grow and become even bigger because of that aspect hitting dead on in his birth chart. So I hope that you've learned a little astrology and learned about something that maybe you may have in your chart, like Elon Musk. But most of all, watch that stock. Watch his businesses, Tesla. They're going to grow and get bigger. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like to sign up for my free newsletter, learn more about me, or if you would like to sign up for a consultation, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to study with me, join my university, which is all online. Go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.